Hey everybody, in this video I wanted to talk about the two things that I did that really revolutionized my practice and really helped propel me as an artist and as a painter and just as a normal creative individual, as a family man. Really, these two things actually changed my life. So the first thing is I started making lists. Now you might not be one of those people that likes making lists, but just think about when you get into the studio, oftentimes you think something magical is gonna happen, and we've been kind of sold this bill of goods that artists, go into the studio and the muse comes in and she lies down on the couch, and then all of a sudden there's this magical ability for people to make these beautiful paintings. However, we might come into the studio and we're not feeling it, right? And then you're also telling yourself, okay, well, I'm not feeling it, but I gotta be here, and because I committed to this and I want to do the work, but then you don't know where to start. So what you do is you get a notebook, an actual notebook and a pencil, and you write stuff down and you just make a list. Today in the studio, I want to work on this painting, I need to fix the sky on this painting, I need to add this to this painting, whatever. Imagine if you had an artist assistant, right? So if you get really great at painting, supposedly you get to have an assistant, and that assistant gets to help you make paintings, right? Imagine you had an artist assistant and you were paying them $50 an hour because they're a really good artist assistant, right? And you're making millions of dollars. So you tell this artist assistant what they have to do that day, okay? Imagine making that list for that artist assistant and saying, I want you to paint the sky in this painting. I want you to pixelate the corners of this painting. I want you to do this. Imagine that you're Jeff Koons and you get to tell somebody what to do in order to make the painting that you want to make, okay? And then make that list, keep it for yourself, and then do the list, right? There's a good video, I can put it in the description, check down there and you can link to it. And it's by a cinematographer named Brad Rushing. And I'm stealing from that video a little bit because what I think he said really makes a lot of sense. There's gonna be times when you're painting and making art when you get really just kind of down on yourself and you lose your confidence and things aren't working the way you thought they were gonna work, right? And what he said is sometimes you don't have to believe in yourself in order to make the work. And what he meant by that is that if you write down the steps, you come up with a goal, you write down the steps in order to achieve that goal, you just put yourself in that position as a worker. You're somebody going through the steps, and you're gonna have to go through those steps again and again and again and again and again. And you just do it over and over and again, because if you really want to become a painter and you have the painting bug caught in you, right? And you just want to get better at painting, it's something that you're going to gravitate towards, right? And the more you can organize these steps, the better. So the first thing to do in order to revolutionize your art making abilities or your studio practice, make a list. Get a notebook, make a list of what you have to do every single day that you're coming into the studio, and then literally just check stuff off the list. It's an easy idea. A great time to make the list is not when you come into the studio, by the way. A great time to make the list is the night before. So when you're imagining, you're going to sleep, imagine what you got to do the next day in the studio. Think about that. Make a list for yourself the day before, so you don't come in, sit down on your studio chair, and then start thinking, what am I supposed to do today? Oh, look at this cat, walking in the snow, right? And all of a sudden you're on Reddit watching cats play in the snow or whatever. Make a list beforehand and just stick to it. Pretty simple advice. The other type of art making that requires a lot of steps, and this seriously changed my life. I can say that. I know it sounds kind of hyperbolic, but this actually changed my life. And I'm somebody who is super creative all the time, I guess, in terms of my brain is always just trying to think about stories and possibilities, and all these sorts of things are kind of bopping around in my brain all the time. It's not like I'm super creative, like whittling an eagle on the metro or something with my off time. But I always have a lot of ideas in my head, and sometimes that can be a hindrance because it's like, oh, I want to write a novel. Oh, I want to make music. Oh, I want to make paintings. Oh, I want to do an NFT project in digital art. Oh, and you get so many different projects in your head that you lose track of those steps. Just what does this do? Okay, I want to make paintings. How do I do this? The other art medium that is obsessed with steps is printmaking. Printmakers are obsessed with steps. And when I came into the printmaking department, I'd been painting for decades and never took a printmaking class. So I took one later in life, I could say, and I thought as a painter, you're just gonna come in, I'm gonna learn this thing, and I'm gonna own this medium immediately, right? So I'm just gonna come in, I know how to draw, I know how to make paint do stuff. I'm gonna come in and be like, oh, this is how you put this on the thing? Okay, fine, let's do it, let's make the drawing. And what I realized, first of all, I literally was full of paint. Like my clothes were literally full of paint. Because even now, I've got paint all over my clothes and stuff. No matter what, I'm gonna get cad yellow or cad red somewhere, and it's not gonna go away. So all my clothes always have paint on them. And I come in with my painty clothes, and immediately the den mother, I guess we could call her, of the printmaking studio was not impressed with my painty clothes, because you learn in a print studio that you gotta clean stuff all the time, because your ink can get on somebody else's paper, and that screws up, an expensive sheet of paper that they had to buy, and now they got a fingerprint on it because you didn't clean the table properly, right? So they're obsessed with cleaning. I'm fairly clean, and I got baby wipes. They love baby wipes, right? So I always got baby wipes now, and I'm always cleaning while I'm working. And I think that if you are hard up and you're also somebody who might have a lot of creative ideas, but you're having trouble executing and following through on them, I'd suggest taking a printmaking class. And printmaking is gonna force you to go through all those steps, and it's really gonna help you. It's gonna help you wash the dishes. I'm serious. It's gonna help you wash the dishes later. It's gonna help you clean up your room. Printmaking will change your life, or maybe it won't. It changed my life. The other thing is, you might be thinking, oh, I can't get to a print studio. It's certainly in these times, you can't get to a print studio. But the print studio I worked with, and the woman I worked with, Melanie Yazzie, gave me one of these things. It's just a big jelly pad. It's like this jelly pad thing. And what you do with these is it's kind of sticky, but it's more like it's like hard Jello, right? And you got to keep it in a plastic bag because they can dry out. But if you're hard up and you want to play around with printmaking, just get some ink. I just got black here for demonstrative purposes. But you can use acrylic paint. This is just acrylic paint. And you get some of that, and you can, draw whatever you want on this. And all you got to do is smush it down. I'm smushing it down onto my list. It's good to use a lot of pressure. Step on it. And now you are printmaking at home. So you could, instead of black, you can have a color. You can make that color here first, make that skin tone if you want, and then you can print on top of it. And you can make a couple of these. The second time is not gonna be as, thick. The paint's not gonna be as thick. and you can get different effects from that. You can get different effects from how hard you push. Usually the second time you can feel, you know, you get a little bit different print. So you can play with printmaking while you're at home. And the thing is, I gotta go wash that now because I don't want this, I don't want that paint to dry. And you get into this different motion of working when you're printmaking, and it's gonna force you to pay attention to those steps. So going over everything again, 2 things to revolutionize your art making abilities. 1, start making lists, make them the night before you go to the studio. Make a list of what you want to achieve that day. 2nd, come into the studio, trust the process that you've put in place for yourself. You're just an automaton being thrown into that process. Doesn't matter if you don't want to work. You're just trusting the process, and you're gonna check off the things that you put on that list. 2nd thing, do printmaking. If you can have access to a studio, take a class, do a studio class in printmaking. They're gonna hammer the steps into you, and they're gonna force you to really pay attention to that process. And you're not gonna have an excuse anymore to just sit down and, oh, what should I draw? Maybe I'll draw a cat. Maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. No, you gotta have a goal, you gotta execute the steps, and then you gotta finish. So, hope this video helped you out a lot. Like and subscribe, do all that. Cheers.